The Alliance of Spark, NSDF and Mahila Milan has worked with urban slum dwellers across India for the past 25 years to develop strategies, processes and projects that seek capacity building of member communities and to create knowledge that can form the basis for their negotiation with the state. The toolbox of the Alliance comprises of community exchanges, savings and credit managed by women in informal settlements, enumerations and settlement profiles carried out by communities themselves, precedent-setting housing and sanitation projects, and negotiations with the state. In 2009, the Government of India announced an ambitious plan known as Rajiv Awas Yojana or RAY to address the issue of slums through provision of land tenure and support for upgrading. But to get this support, cities have to do two things. They have to create a citywide slum database based on which they have to make citywide plans for slum upgrading. At this point, the Alliance decided to explore ways to ensure that communities were deeply embedded in the process of data collection and citywide planning. With this in view, it wanted to undertake a pilot project in which slum mapping and settlement profiling would be done by organizations of the urban poor.
GIS, तो वो आपको बहुत काम आता है क्योंकि बस्ती कितनी बड़ी है वो हम बाउंड्री मतलब लेकर जाते हैं। बस्ती के पूरे बाहर से लेकर घूमने का होता है, तो बाहर से लेकर वक्त हम पॉइंट लेते हैं कि इतनी बस्ती यहाँ से इतनी है, यहाँ से इतने, मतलब उसका वो मशीन के अंदर पूरा वो मैपिंग आता है, तो फिर हमको पता चलता है कि वो बस्ती कितनी बड़ी है।
The Alliance suggested that it would conduct the participatory slum mapping of informal settlements in Cuttack, Orissa. Spark wrote a proposal to the GLTN to fund a pilot slum mapping project in Cuttack that was accepted in 2010. GLTN, or the Global Land Tools Network, UN Habitat, is a network that recognizes the value of communities' capacity to do slum enumerations. It is considered fundamental to addressing land tenure issues, and GLTN has made slum enumeration a strategic institution through which it hopes to get support for what is already being done by communities and local NGOs. The challenge lay in not treating this as an externally driven project, despite its timing and project funding commitments. The Alliance's implementing partner in Orissa is the Urban Development Resource Centre, UDRC, a local NGO in Bhubaneswar that works with the Orissa Slum Dwellers Federation and Mahila Milan. Through this pilot project, Spark, Mahila Milan and NSDF also wanted to build real capacities within the Alliance to upgrade its own mapping and enumeration process. In practice, there is usually a gap of 4 to 7 years between slum surveys and the implementation of the actual project. Slums, like any other urban areas, change during this long gap, and most of the household data is no longer accurate, resulting in problems for the implementing agencies and households alike. This is why the Alliance is recommending a phase-wise approach to collecting data. The phases of data collection are as follows. First, a settlement-level data collection, which includes slum boundary mapping and surveying, is to be done. Second, this data is analyzed and slums prioritized to select those that need immediate attention for relocation or upgrading. Third, the prioritized slums are negotiated with municipalities by communities and their supporting NGOs. Fourth, detailed data collection is done only for a final list of selected prioritized slums post-negotiation with the state. This detailed data collection will include household-level surveys, livelihood surveys, and detailed hut mapping to aid in the preparation of a detailed project report.
लेखिले रेडी तापर एटा होची पेज पावर परे पेज स्विच अछि पेज को थरे दि थरा 3 थरा 4 थरा हैला 4 थरा दबेला परे लेखुची मार्क माने एटा मार्क हे गला ए जगहटा पॉइंट आधरे लोडिंग हे गला देन हम ए जगह को मार्क कर टर्निंग जतो
ना गडबा इरिगेशन जगह से पोटा में लग दियो दले कोन हमरे केते एरिया टा केते हबो जो तोड़ो की देखाओ ने एमिते को लैपटॉप देखो ना छाइटा देखो समय देखबे ना
जिकी काम करके आमे आगे चलछु समस्त समर्थ सहित आदान प्रदान करि
The participatory slum mapping project cannot be fully successful on its own without engaging and influencing the process within RAY that it seeks to challenge. Thus, any real participatory decision-making process under RAY must necessarily result from a dialogue, one of both words and action between the Alliance and government. A few issues come to mind immediately. The tendering process under RAY limits NGOs or CBOs to participate in mapping. RAY recommends the use of highly technical expertise and equipment which is not accessible to all, thus limiting the role for communities to take ownership of data. The Alliance wants to use the participatory slum mapping project in Cuttack as a starting point to develop a protocol for community-based mapping. This could then be embedded in the new RAY policy and scaled up to other cities across India.
Cuttack team, they evolved their own ways of how to get the boundary done somehow. There are so many men came who like say no, sorry, we cannot jump into that wall and that. Then these women only showed them how it has to be done.
Participatory slum mapping is already being planned for 20 cities, and the Alliance hopes to scale it up as we get more and more partners involved in the process.
This is the actual situation of the slum.